Don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe for more tokusatsu content, and I thank you for your continued support. Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Kamen Spike 2.0 back again once again today, people. Today we have our Super Space Sheriff Gavan, episode 9. We almost at the double digits, y'all. We almost at the double digits when it comes down to Gavan, and it's really been good this whole time. And we've had some slow episodes, we've had some not so great episodes, but so far this world and this series so far, and this universe or universes so far have been pretty great in my opinion, and I'm still very much thoroughly enjoying the show. Like, there really hasn't been that much that I have any gripes with so far. I mean, yeah, it's not a perfect show, it's not over yet. We won't be able to judge if it's like a perfect show, air quotes, until like this series is basically over. I hear a lot of I've heard murmurs in the past talking about this show is going to be like 25 episodes and stuff like that, which if it's 25 episodes, that's cool with me. I mean, I'm pretty cool with it being a shorter, a shorter kind of one-shot kind of series, and I would like to see it continue, especially with all the new Gavans that we're getting later on in the series. But so far, I'm really enjoying Gavan, and this episode I also really enjoyed. When it comes down to Kiki and Koto, just like their friendship, and we get a little bit of their past of how they actually met each other. And I thought they were sisters. Like, I thought they were like just straight up blood sisters, but we're friendship sisters, and they've gotten along great with each other ever since they met each other. And they met each other in school, so their personalities and stuff, like their dynamic with each other, is actually really good and really cute, and I actually love their dynamic with each other. And when it came down to Koto seemed like she was more like a bad girl, like she was like the rebellious type, and Kiki seemed like she was just the studious, cute, schoolgirl and stuff. And then you got those two different personalities coming together, and opposites attract, so it would make sense for these two to actually be best friends and actually grow up to be cops. And we actually see the reason why they grew up to be cops in this episode too. And this episode, we are basically in this universe because we need Kiki to be able to translate what Yokaider, our previous Imo-Gear, who basically has gone on his own little journey. This little Imo-Gear has basically traveled the cosmos and has basically figured out where all this negative energy is coming from. And turns out the thing that's all this negative energy is coming from inside of a black hole in the middle of the galaxy. And I'm like, yo, so this evil, there's like this big evil entity inside of this black hole, and I'm thinking that this thing is going to be a monster. Well, yeah, it's a monster, but at the same time, this thing is going to be very hard to beat, and it's going to take all of the Gavans that we've seen, all the Gavans that we've gotten and will be getting in this series to take this thing down. But yeah, like that whole thing of Yokaider going on this whole cosmos journey, which is why it was missing, was actually like really funny, but also very it was also kind of interesting as well. We actually found out that Yokaider is the Imo-Gear that Reiji's mentor used to basically used to transform. And I'm really hoping that we will see what his Gavan form might look like, because I guess we know that basically every Gavan basically looks different because they use different Imo-Gears. So I kind of really want to see Gato was his mentor's name. I want to see Gato's Gavan form. I want to see what that looks like. but we know that Death Gavan looks very, very similar to he does look very similar to Infinity. But yeah, maybe Gato, his Gavan form will be revealed to us one day, maybe in a flashback or something like that, because we know that he is dead now, which he is dead now. So I would like to see a flashback of him transforming and him going into action. It would be really cool if we see him transform and he looks like the original Gavan, like the silver Gavan. I would really like to see like what that actually would look like. But now that they're in this they're in the Luminous universe, trying to figure out trying to translate what Yokaider was trying to tell them back in their universe. We see that there is basically like an outbreak of emoji monsters, and this monster basically had like the ability to multiply itself, and they're trying to figure out a way to basically stop them from multiplying so much. But shenanigans ensue, and it ends up being a lot of them. They're actually able to I guess basically like any type of blast attack would make them multiply. So we had to get down to the nitty-gritty, and we had to start using like physical attacks, like physical weapons and stuff. We even see that Reiji kind of made it worse when he actually uses the Gavan blaster and ends up blasting a bunch of them, which made them like multiply heavily. But we see that Kiki, with her quick thinking, she's able to analyze these analyze these monsters. Oh man, able to analyze these monsters, and when she analyzes them, she's able to find like the source of where like this negative emoji is coming from. So she runs off to like this I guess like the same place, like basically like this wasteland kind of area. And when she goes there, she ends up seeing that there is like this big pit that's full of like all this negative emoji. So it turns out there was a dark King-Ohger, or an evil King-Ohger, under the ground that was kind of like influencing the area around it. Like Kiki basically goes into detail talking about, since there's so much like negative energy in this place, basically coming from like all the crime and everything that happens in this wasteland, it basically like manifested a bunch of negative energy in this place. So she ends up finding that King-Ohger and ends up capturing and taking it, but it's still evil right then. We also got the return of Fade, Mr. Fade, Lupin Fade. He comes in and helps them out a little bit with the monsters and stuff like that, but he does end up inevitably leaving after helping Koto. We see that they're able to put all the emoji monsters inside of like these individual force fields, keeping them from multiplying. But even though they are stuck in these force field bubbles, they'll shoot a blast. They'll like shoot like little lasers out of her eyes, and then the barrier would deflect it back at them and hit themselves, causing them to multiply inside of the bubbles. So that's how we ended up having like a crap ton of them in this episode, because they were like multiplying themselves. We see that Fade is the one that basically gave them the tip that all of this was even happening. He helps them fight them off a little bit, and then he ends up leaving himself. So after Kiki ends up bringing that evil King-Ohger there, we see that her and Koto kind of get into an argument, which they were already kind of mad at each other before anyway, because of Kiki basically stacked up a bunch of stuff like equipment and stuff, and Koto came in, she knocked it all down by accident, and then she ends up coming in and putting it all back together, but she didn't put it back together in the way Kiki wanted it. So they're arguing about that throughout it, and it gets kind of deep when it talks about they started getting kind of personal with each other, and they're arguing in front of the negative King-Ohger, which causes all their negative emotions that they're feeling right now to basically go into that negative little King-Ohger, and basically causes like it's a breakout of the thing she had it captured in, and ends up breaking free all of the other emoji monsters, and also opening a portal to Makio space. So what they decided to do was to push all of the emoji monsters into Mako space and then closing the portal behind them, so basically they're all trapped there. But yeah, we see that they ended up fighting off a lot of these emoji monsters by basically just using physical attacks. We get a cool like little duo thing going on with Kiki and Koto, seeing how they can, fighting together. And we see that our boy Reiji ends up transforming and end up using a special emo gear that created like a tornado, or like a vortex, which picks up all the emoji monsters and pushes them all into Makio space, and he closes the portal back. So all our emoji monster debacle is basically it's done. But Kiki and Koto are probably going to get in trouble because they ended up using her blade, and they ended up busting up a bunch of buildings. So they got a lot of paperwork to do. So after that, we see that Reiji ends up telling them why exactly he's here, and then that's when we get the whole explanation with Yokaider and what he's doing and what he's trying to do and stuff like that. And we see that Reiji is basically going to hold on to Yokaider. After that, we see that after they basically got rid of all the emoji monsters, we see this figure standing there watching what happens, and he's holding like these two like marbles, and we don't see his face, but we basically see him walk away into the light. So after everything's said and done, we have our classic, laughing and all that jazz, and the episode ends right there. In the next episode, we are going to get the debut of Gavan Raya, or the Gavan that's based off of G Raya from Metal Hero. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this guy. I can't wait. The Shinobi Gavan is coming in the next episode, and I'm really looking forward to it because I can't wait to see this suit in action. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of purple, but this suit does look really, really good. But yeah, man, this episode was great. I did like the return of Mr. Fade, because I really do like this character, and I liked the whole Yokaider thing. We also alluding to a potential big bad that's really out there, another big bad that's out there. But no Death Gavan in this episode, but we actually see like some of the stuff that he's doing around the universes is affecting the universes in a negative way. And we get the reveal that the reason why Reiji can go to other universes and be able to breathe and survive in those other universes is because that negative emoji energy that being created by that evil entity is in him. So he's like, yeah, I've been traveling around the universe with using the power of evil. He's not messing with that. But man, this was a great episode. I do love Kiki and Koto and the whole Lumino stuff, and I really cannot wait to see what happens next in the next episode. Can't wait to see Gavan Raya and him in action and all that jazz. And it seems like he's gonna be fighting Reiji in the next episode as well, so I'm really looking forward to that. But other than that, this episode was cool. What you guys think about this episode, man? It was dope. Let me know down in the comment section below. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. As remember, as I always say, stay henshined.
Yeah, the shining golden sign.